Yo, what's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro duel video. 2 Dracos in the new upcoming TCG format post February 5th, 2018. Well, as always, I'm using two separate deck lists, two different deck lists, more like a stun version as you see here, and the second list I'll be using is like a more invoked version, an invoked build with tricksters as well, but I'll come back to that in a couple of moments. This is the stun version. I'll also leave like a timestamp. This particular True Draco list, like the stun variant, is also main decking the new. It's like a new monster, right? Quote unquote new monster, the Inspector Border. It's like an iffy card, but again, going first turn. Like the Demise version, the stun version, the card is actually quite good, like normal summon it on the field and then, you know, your opponent, at least both players, cannot activate monster effects, right? Unless you know the requirements of having like Xyz link monsters, well, special summon monsters from the extra deck, right? But you know what I mean, like the opponent not using or not being able, or not, you know, able to use the hand traps against like Card of Demise, Spot of Desires. If you have the Inspector Border on your side of the field, again, you're able to set up your field, set up your Ignis Heat or, well, Majesty's Maiden or whatever, right, Masterpiece, and then, you know, get rid of your Inspector to use your monster effects at its fullest potential. But again, it's an iffy card since, again, okay, your opponent will not be, at least is not able to use his monster effects, but again, you're also not able to use your monster effects on your own. So that's something to keep in mind. Well, True Dracos, again, we, at least, yeah, with Spirals, and maybe before that, the deck somewhat vanished out of a format, right? But again, with our new TCG list, we might see this deck again popping up, and the main deck of Anti-Spell Fragrance is definitely an option, since, you know, again, this deck, True Draco, Demise, especially the Demise build, has like a big weakness to evenly matched. Again, evenly matched is like a huge blowout to this particular deck, since, again, you're going first, for example, establish your board, set a couple of back row cards, especially after, you know, Card of Demise. So that's something to keep in mind, right? Evenly matched. Okay, you're running cards like Solemn Judgment, again released, or yeah, indeed released after our most recent TCG list, Scolding, but, well, it's not really that useful or playable in True Dracos, right? But Solemn Judgment being like an instant out for Solemn, or for evenly matched. But yeah, again, okay, this deck is somewhat weak to evenly match, but that's not really a reason for you to, you know, like dismiss this deck completely, since again, Masterpiece, super strong, a super strong card, right? A very ignorant card as well, and as a whole, the True Draco engine is still quite strong. And also you can run like multiple floodgates, especially with Anti-Spell Fragrance, since as you might have seen on, you know, the Facebook pages that like to post the best, or at least, yeah, top deck lists from past weekend TCG new format. I've been seeing a lot of Pendulum decks, right? Mostly Pendulum Magicians popping up, so it seems that Pendulum Magicians is still quite of a strong deck. And something like Anti-Spell Fragrance is again an MVP card against something like that. But you know, you can still side deck multiple copies of Anti-Spell going into game 2 or 3, and, you know, definitely going first, that is, since it's definitely debatable going second. But then, you know, you have to change your build a little bit, maybe play like more hand traps. But yeah, that's again up to you, right? Maybe, yeah, well, again, depends on the build, but yeah, maybe I prefer going second. But as I mentioned multiple times before, well, the build needs to be adapted to that. That's definitely a good start from my opponent, luring out the ABC Dragon Buster here, using the effect on the set, terraforming, probably expecting the trap card, the Apocalypse, right? But he does use Ghost Ogre. Well, the thing is, you know, going second, then you definitely need your hand traps. Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre is so good against Electromite, for example. Effect Failure with Spirals heavily weakened. You know, Effect Failure was kind of dropped due to the Spiral Field spell, making the monster being, well, not being able to be targeted, right, by the opponent's card effect. So, but now with, well, depends, right, if Spirals is still good enough to, you know, be like a top tier deck, tier 1 deck, depends, right? But Effect Failure still, or at least now, might be like a main deckable option again. But, you know, that's, we still have to wait and see where the TCG format is going to. Another example again against ABCs, definitely still quite of a strong deck with Destrudo and maybe the The cockle-doodle-doo, definitely an option, right? This is a decent first turn, get Masterpiece on board, 2 draws off of the 2 Draco spell card. Heritage, I believe the name is right. Twin Twister is decent, triple Apocalypse in the graveyard. A Monster Reborn is going to fetch him. The Black Rose to, you know, equalize the score, equalize the playing field. Top deck the Disciples, that's a good top deck, you know, like get another draw, I believe, drawing into Majesty's Maiden. I think I have to get it on board, right? Put on the pressure on my opponent, although he does have the Raigeki here. Okay, I'm going to get a Search, not really, well, Ignizy definitely an option, but no, it's just top deck like a continuous spell or trap. Solemn Judgment, nope, that's not going to cut it, but as I mentioned before, as you saw on the decklist, the Inspector board on all the new cards, I believe it's an Exfo, again, correct me if I'm wrong. It's an iffy card, again, going first, get it on board, prevents your opponent from using the hand traps like Ash Blossom on your demise. But yeah, again, it's like a very iffy, super iffy card. Here, and now I see, like, watching the replay is, I definitely should have tributed away my anti-spell for, like, Igniseed, right? Not really sure why I didn't do that. Well, to each their own, but that definitely should have been the play like I do now. That also would have left me, you know, using Card of the Mice, eventually get more draws, right? But whatever, right? Use Heritage again, pop one of my opponent's back rows, and finally get the engine going. Use, or at least set the return. Okay, he does have Twin Twister, that's all fine. I believe I can still use my Heritage to get a draw, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it should be. Yeah, indeed. Send back 3 cards, draw a card, not really sure. Draw the Apocalypse, I believe. Get Masterpiece on board as well, and this should be game, right? Popping the back row. Draw Imperial Order as well. So again, quite a slowish game, stunish game, going back and forth. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Some people, you know, like the quick duels, Pendulum Summon, vomiting everything on the field. Some people prefer the stunish builds, these stunish duels, going back and forth, to each their own right. Here, I should be able to attack for a game, otherwise I'm just going to end the replay, right? What can he do? Yep, the Ghost Ogre definitely not going to save him. Second version may be a bit of a strange version, but, you know, the Trickstar engine is not really new in True Dracos. I definitely should be main decking a second Candina here, you know, because of triple reincarnation. But, you know, the Trickstar field spell, quite good. Stunning your opponent's back row, and of course being able to search your Candina, and Candina being like a Stratos searching out Trickstar Reincarnation, which can be a target to pop off of your True Draco field spell, and at the same time Trickstar Reincarnation can first of all disrupt your opponent's plays, and let's not forget triple Drawn Unlock Bird can definitely be used with that, but again, the graveyard effect of Trickstar Reincarnation is quite good again, special summoning your Candina back to the field, and then, you know, you have something to tribute for, like your Masterpiece, an extra monster to be tributed for a Masterpiece on the field. But, well, the Trickstar engine in this deck depends on, you know, the strength of Drawn Unlock Birds. Again, if Drawn Unlock Bird is like a super staple hand trap in the format, then the Trickstar engine definitely gains a lot of advantages, right? You can instantly search your Trickstar Reincarnation, but again, if Drawn Unlock Bird isn't really doing anything, I probably would not be playing Trickstars. Or at least Trickstars in this particular deck, right? Another version of the deck, and that's, you know, quite common knowledge, Invoked, maybe Spellbooks as well, the Spellbook of Secrets, Spellbook of Knowledge, using the Destiny draw of Spellbooks, again, that's definitely an option, but again, that's all up to you. At least testing still needs to be done. He opts to start, right, and I'll take a look at my opening hand. The Invocation, the Mono of Invocation, definitely not that great, same for the Reincarnation. Again, not quite good, and no hand traps, sadly. What are the chances, right? Running like 9 hand traps? And still, no hand trap, no Ghost Ogre on the Electromites. Yeah, Ghost Ogre, again, super fantastic card against Electromites. Again, absolute, and just link it away for Vortex. Well, Vortex on its own is not really that big of a problem, but it becomes a problem if, you know, your opponent has more answers next to Vortex, and more answers as in more hand traps backing it up, right? He's going to use Vortex, I believe, sending back the level 7. Yeah, I believe level 7 like the Darkworm Searcher, the Supreme King Gate card, right? And he drew the Edge Blossom, indeed, another hand trap, but I believe he's just going to, you know, spam his field full and eventually attack for a game. So, yeah, this deck might be a bit more bricky, right? With the Invocation, the Trickstar traps. But again, more testing needs to be done. It's an option, but I think at least a big factor here, a big variable is, you know, the importance of drawing a Logbird in the format. Last example, I believe, Darkworm, and now looking at the opening hand, whew, to have the Ghost Ogre here, I'm definitely going to Ghost Ogre the Electromite, so I'm still very much alive in the duel. He can, you know, set up his scale, that's all fine, and then he go for a second Electromite, but most importantly, he wasn't able to, you know, gain more advantage off of the Pendulum Summon. That's all good. The Chronograph for some extra special summons. He could have gone for the Astrograph, no, for, what is it called? Skull Deed, you know, replenish the hand, but this is all decent. But I still can have a comeback, right? We can definitely expect like 1 or 2 hand traps. It seems that, well, he might have Ghost Ogre, but he doesn't use it here, so... But I think that the correct play always here is to normal summon Alistair first, go for the Fusion Summon before I'm going to use the field spell, since again, I have to get Masterpiece on the field, and thus, you know, I have to get my field spell going. So I'm definitely going for Makaba first, just in case if he has the hand trap, and definitely, possibly, if he has that Ghost Ogre, negate it with Makaba, get Masterpiece on the field, and this, again, should be history, right? I still have Masterpiece on the field live to be used during my opponent's turn, Makaba live on the field, and a Ghost Ash Blossom definitely live as well, and yep, enough negation to again seal the deal. So True Draco is definitely still a valid, at least, yeah, again, a valid deck going into our new TCG format, but again, testing needs to be done. Which variant? Maybe the Invoked build, definitely an option. The Spellbook Draw Engine, but again, that's all up to you. So all feedback, definitely appreciated. Going second evenly matched in the main deck is definitely also an option. But again, that's up to you. Okay. Guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.